Let me tell you something. You don't have time to waste. You don't have the luxury of leaking energy into dead situations, into broken people who want company but not change. You don't have time to water gardens in other people's lives, while weeds grow wild in your own. Focus on yourself. Yes, I said it. That's not selfish. It's survival. Because the truth is, you've been taught to feel guilty for prioritizing you. You've been trained to believe that saying no makes you a bad person. But hear me when I tell you, you can't pour from an empty vessel. You are worn out because you've made yourself responsible for everybody's chaos but your own construction. You're tired because you've been running to rescue people who never even tried to swim. You've been answering calls that only pull you away from your calling. God didn't create you to be a background singer in someone else's performance. You've got a voice, a gift, a purpose, but you've been muted by misplaced loyalty and drained by distraction. The clock is ticking. Time doesn't wait for healing, doesn't pause for pity, doesn't rewind for regret. What you don't confront, you'll continue. What you don't focus on, you'll forfeit. And the only person responsible for your purpose is you. This season demands laser focus. You can't go where you're going with people who want to stay where they are. You can't build what you're called to build with hands that keep reaching back. You can't run if you're always turning around. It's time to let the noise be noise. Not every opinion needs your attention. Not every call needs a callback. Not every battle is your assignment. Because when you focus on yourself, when you focus on healing, on building, on growing, you become unstoppable. You begin to align with the version of yourself that isn't swayed by distraction or broken by delay. You've got somewhere to be. There's something in you that the world hasn't seen yet, but you'll miss it trying to babysit people who only want your presence, not your progress. So today I challenge you, cut the cord, walk away from what wastes you, silence what steals your strength. You were not born to be stuck. You were born to soar. Focus on yourself. Don't waste your time. Because time won't wait for you. There comes a point in your journey when you have to accept the uncomfortable truth. You are not the repairman for every broken situation. You are not the savior of every struggling soul. You are not responsible for healing people who refuse to acknowledge their own wounds. And yet, so many of us carry the burden of fixing what's not ours. We stretch ourselves thin, trying to be the answer to problems we didn't create. We give our energy, our peace, our time, pouring from a cup that's barely full, hoping that maybe, just maybe, our sacrifice will spark their change. But transformation doesn't come through proxy. It comes through personal decision. Some people don't want healing. They want attention. Some don't want to change. They want to be coddled in their chaos. And if you're not careful, their dysfunction will become your distraction. You'll start building their house while your own roof leaks. You'll fight their battles while your own heart bleeds. You'll fix what they keep breaking. But no matter how hard you try, you cannot do their work. You can love them, support them, intercede for them, but you cannot do what only they can do. That's not help, that's interference. You were not created to carry everybody else's consequences. You can advise them, but you can't apply the truth for them. You can pray over them, but you can't drag them into purpose. At some point, they have to choose to stand up. They have to want to change more than they want to be comforted. But if you keep stepping in, they'll never step up. If you always clean up the mess, they'll never learn to manage their life. If you always extend your peace, you'll never protect your own. And here's the hard part, letting go, walking away from someone who's still hurting, distancing yourself from someone you love deeply. But wisdom knows when love needs limits. Sometimes backing up is the most loving thing you can do, because as long as you're the crutch, they won't feel the urgency to walk. As long as you're the constant, they won't learn what it means to be accountable. And while you're losing sleep trying to fix them, you're falling behind on the work God gave you to do. You are called to steward your own soul, to heal your own heart, to climb your own mountain. And every minute you spend fixing what's not yours is a minute lost on what is. That's not selfishness, it's wisdom, it's maturity, it's knowing that enabling isn't the same as empowering. It's understanding that some lessons can only be learned in the wilderness, and some people will only grow when you stop making life comfortable for them. Destiny is not discovered in comfort. It is built through consistency. Too many people have big dreams, powerful visions, and divine callings, but they lack the one thing that makes it all come to pass: discipline. Because destiny doesn't manifest through desire alone. Wanting it isn't enough. Hoping for it won't bring it closer. Praying without preparation is just noise. God can call you, favor you, even anoint you. But if you don't develop the discipline to steward the call, you'll fumble what He gave you. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you're destined to be. It's what keeps you grinding when the excitement fades. It's what wakes you up early when nobody's watching, pushes you to study when you'd rather scroll, and silences the need for validation from people who can't see your vision. Discipline doesn't chase applause. It chases alignment. And those who walk in destiny understand that some doors won't open until your life matches your calling. God will not elevate what you refuse to organize. We live in a generation that wants results without routine, platforms without preparation, and success without sacrifice. But destiny is expensive. It will cost you time, comfort, relationships, and the need to be liked. It will demand that you say no more than you say yes. It will require you to walk away from what is easy so you can engage what is eternal. Discipline says, I don't feel like it, but I do it anyway. Discipline says, I'd rather quit, but I'm not built to give up. Discipline is the fire that fuels the future. Every day you skip, delay, or avoid the work, you're not just wasting time, you're delaying impact. The world needs what you carry, but your gift can't go where your character can't sustain it. Talent may open doors, but it's discipline that keeps them open. You can't ask God to bless what you're unwilling to be consistent with. You can't pray for increase while living in disorder. Heaven partners with preparation. God responds to order. And when you set your house in order, when you manage your minutes, when you harness your habits, you create the capacity for destiny to manifest. Discipline is also what separates growth from stagnation. It's the reason some people remain stuck year after year, watching others rise, not because they lack gifting, but because they resist responsibility. The truth is, some people pray for destiny but run from the discipline that sustains it. They want to speak on stages but won't study in silence. They want leadership but can't lead themselves. Destiny is not magic. It's management. It's doing the small things well until big things find you. It's honoring your assignment even when it feels unnoticed. Your next level is not locked in mystery. It's wrapped in mundane obedience. It's tucked inside the routines you're tempted to skip. Destiny doesn't respond to your feelings. It responds to your focus. It doesn't wait on your emotions. It waits on your effort. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. It doesn't pause because you're tired. It doesn't rewind because you're unprepared. It doesn't slow down because you're scared. The clock doesn't care about your excuses. It keeps ticking, whether you move or stay still, whether you commit or procrastinate, whether you evolve or remain bound by fear. You can justify your delay to everyone around you, but time won't wait for your reasons. You can say, "I'm not ready yet." The clock keeps ticking. You can say, "It's not the right season." The clock keeps ticking. You can say, "They hurt me and I'm still healing." The clock keeps ticking. Excuses may sound legitimate in the moment, but they become prisons over time. And while you're rehearsing what held you back, someone else is running with what they have, pressing forward with less support, fewer resources, and heavier burdens. But they understand something you haven't accepted yet. You're not guaranteed more time. Every second that passes is a second that won't return. Every day you sit in hesitation is a day someone else seizes in boldness. And no matter how gifted you are, how chosen you are, or how deeply you were hurt, you are not exempt from the consequences of wasted time. Some opportunities expire, some windows close, some divine moments only come once. And when they do, you have to be ready, not perfect, but present. The danger of excuses is that they numb you into delay. They trick you into thinking you have time to spare, time to waste, time to circle back. But life has a way of shifting without warning. You don't always get advance notice. You don't always get a second chance. You can't afford to keep pushing your purpose into tomorrow. There's work assigned to you now. There's healing that should have started already. There's a version of you that's waiting on the other side of your excuses. But you won't meet them until you move. People waste years blaming their parents, their environment, their trauma, and yes, those things shape you, but they don't have the final say. Excuses are comfortable, but they're not transformational. They let you sleep through seasons you were meant to conquer. They lull you into waiting for perfect conditions that never arrive. The weather may never be just right. The support may never be unanimous. But time doesn't pause for your perfect moment. It rewards the one who gets up anyway. God gave you time not to squander, but to steward. Every morning you wake up is proof that you still have purpose, but don't confuse grace with guarantee. Just because you're still breathing doesn't mean you're still aligned. Excuses blur vision. They tell you to delay destiny for the sake of convenience. But the longer you justify staying stuck, the harder it is to get moving. And by the time you're ready, the door may be closed, not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't consistent. Growth doesn't happen in chaos, it happens in clarity. And clarity comes when you quiet the voices that don't serve your vision. We live in a world that's constantly loud. notifications pinging, opinions flying, distractions pulling you in every direction. But if you want to grow, if you're serious about becoming who you were created to be, then you have to learn how to silence the noise. Because everything that calls for your attention is not worthy of your energy. Not every voice should have access to your ears. Not every conversation deserves a response, and not every opinion needs to be internalized. The noise can come from the outside, but more dangerously, it can live on the inside. The doubt that whispers, "You're not good enough." The fear that screams, "What if you fail?" The insecurity that asks, "What will they think?" And before long, you're not growing, you're shrinking. You're not moving forward, you're stuck in cycles of self-sabotage because you let the noise become louder than your conviction. But what you feed will flourish, and if you keep feeding distractions, discouragement, and drama, don't be surprised when your purpose feels distant. Growth requires a quiet place, a sacred space where you can hear your own thoughts, commune with God, and receive strategy without interruption. You can't grow in noise because noise fractures focus. It scatters your attention, keeping you reactive instead of intentional. You become busy but not productive, active but not aligned. And then you wonder why your roots aren't getting deeper, why your fruit isn't showing, because you've spent more time responding to noise than tending to your soil. Silencing the noise means turning down the volume on everything and everyone that distracts you from your development. It means separating yourself from the crowd if the crowd is keeping you common. It means unfollowing people you admire but secretly compare yourself to. It means pulling back from conversations that drain you more than they grow you. It's not about isolation for ego's sake. It's about consecration for destiny's sake. You have to make peace with not being understood, with not being liked, with not being accessible to everyone, because you're not available for noise anymore. You're available for growth. You're available for late nights in prayer, early mornings in purpose, and quiet days of building what no one else sees yet. You're available for becoming, and becoming can't happen in clutter. When you silence the noise, you start to hear the whisper of wisdom. You hear clarity in the quiet. You rediscover your voice. You reconnect with your why. Growth begins to accelerate because you're no longer competing with confusion. You're not trying to keep up with everybody else. You're staying in your own lane. You're tending your own garden. You're building what lasts instead of chasing what trends. And with every distraction you mute, your vision gets sharper, your steps get bolder, and your roots grow deeper. You can love people and still protect your peace. You can be kind and still set boundaries. You can be available and still say no. Because the truth is people will drain you if you let them. They will take all you have, leave nothing behind, and expect more tomorrow. Not because they're evil, but because you never said enough. You never set the line. You never taught them where you end and where they begin. There are people in your life who don't come to fill you. They come to feed off of you. They want your time, your ear, your advice, your strength, but they have no intention of pouring anything back. And if you're not careful, you'll become their emotional landfill, absorbing all their chaos while your spirit slowly shrivels. You'll play the hero in stories you were never assigned to, dragging broken people uphill while they resist every step of the journey. That's not loyalty. That's self-neglect. You are not everyone's solution. You are not everyone's sanctuary. You are not designed to carry people who refuse to walk. It's not your job to rescue adults from responsibilities they keep avoiding. Some people don't want help. They want attention. They don't want healing. They want company in their dysfunction, and every time you step in, they learn to lean more and grow less. Every time you come to the rescue, they escape accountability. Every time you say yes, at the expense of your own well-being, you teach them that your boundaries are negotiable. The most dangerous people in your life are not always the loudest. Sometimes they come disguised as needy, as helpless, as just going through a rough time. But that rough time turns into a lifestyle. They drain you with guilt. They manipulate you with silence. They pressure you with obligation. And before you know it, your joy is gone, your fire is dim, and your mind is cluttered with burdens that were never yours to carry. Protecting your peace doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. Some of the most mature decisions you'll make are the ones that involve distance, not out of hate, but out of preservation. Because when you're constantly giving from an empty place, you're not helping, you're harming. You're operating in deficit, and eventually you will crash. And the very people you've been pouring into will move on without hesitation, looking for the next person to latch onto. You have to learn the power of the word no. You have to learn to leave texts unanswered, calls unreturned, invitations declined. Not because you don't care, but because you care about your own health, your own growth, your own calling. You weren't put on this earth to bleed for people who won't bandage themselves. You weren't created to be a lifeline for people who refuse to swim. You have permission to choose you. You have the right to be whole. You have the responsibility to protect what God placed in you, because people will drain you if you let them. You can't grow while neglecting yourself. You can't evolve while always being the one who bends, breaks, and sacrifices for everyone else. Progress doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you make a conscious decision to prioritize yourself, your purpose, and your peace. It's not selfish. It's not arrogant. It's necessary, because if you keep putting yourself last, don't be surprised when your goals stay buried beneath the weight of other people's demands. You've been trained to believe that good people give endlessly, love without boundaries, and never say no. But that mindset will leave you depleted. It will leave you watching others succeed while your own dreams gather dust. The truth is, no one is going to hand you time for yourself. No one is going to remind you to take care of your mental health, your physical body, or your emotional stability. That's your job. That's your responsibility. Because progress won't happen until you decide that you matter too. There's a version of you that exists on the other side of sacrifice. Not the kind where you give up everything for others, but the kind where you start giving to yourself. The version of you that wakes up on time, that sets goals, that says no to distractions and yes to direction. The version that doesn't wait for permission to grow. But that version won't emerge until you shift your focus inward. Until you stop trying to manage everyone else's chaos and start managing your own calling. You can't build a future while babysitting the past. You can't become who you're meant to be while clinging to relationships, routines, and responsibilities that no longer serve you. Some people won't understand your shift. They'll call you distant, selfish, even arrogant. But they don't understand the cost of progress. They don't see the hours you've spent giving your best to everything but yourself. They don't feel the silent exhaustion that comes from being everything to everyone and nothing to yourself. Progress demands separation, not from love or compassion, but from codependency and chaos. It means stepping back from what's familiar so you can step into what's fulfilling. It means canceling the meetings that drain you, skipping the conversations that distract you, and creating sacred space for growth. It means prioritizing your goals even when nobody claps. It means getting serious about your healing, your habits, your hustle, because no one else is going to do it for you. You have dreams that are waiting on discipline. You have assignments that are waiting on structure. You have blessings that are waiting on obedience, and none of them will manifest while you keep neglecting your needs. You've been called to do something great, but greatness isn't born in burnout. It's born in alignment, and alignment starts when you stop explaining yourself and start honoring yourself. When you stop apologizing for putting yourself first and start living like you actually believe you have purpose, because progress requires prioritizing yourself. You weren't created to live distracted, depleted, or delayed. Your destiny is too important to waste on noise, excuses, or people who only take from you. If you want to grow, you must focus. You must protect your time, guard your energy, and prioritize your peace. Growth won't happen by accident. It requires discipline, boundaries, and the courage to choose yourself. The clock won't pause. The world won't wait. You have to move now. Focus on yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of purpose. Because what's ahead of you demands more than what's behind you ever gave.